Welcome, summoners, to episode 15 of Instalock Mid. As always, I am Motgnarom, your host and fearless leader, joined this week by SG Renzler.
What's up?
And a little bit different this week, our normal third man, Ace Deuces, is on a quest for love, traveling throughout the middle of this great North American country that we are to go visit his girlfriend. So we are joined this week by a new guest, very special guest, Rev the Ward Bot.
How's it going?
Rev, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a. Well, there's not much to tell me. I'm a regular summoner. I live in Texas, and that's about it. I mean, there's not much more to me.
All right, cool. We will talk about a little bit about how we met Rev and the devious things we have in the mix coming up later on in the episode, so definitely stay tuned for that. So talking about our weeks, Renzler, how has your week in League of Legends been?
My week went pretty good. I had a 4-game winning streak, crushed by a game where I played with Thor, and we bot lane derped it up. It was die lane bot, definitely. I think I racked up like 12 deaths in 20 minutes or something. It was horrible. And I'm still playing Darius. I'm still rocking with my master slam dunking Darius. I can't wait for them to make some kind of Michael Jordan skin for him so he can run around with a big basketball and just crush people, because that's what I've been doing with Darius all the time. And I'm getting a lot of honor. I've been getting honor basically every game, and it's great.
Wow.
Not a lot of honorable opponents, but that's fine. I'm not trolling the opposite team. In fact, I actually have cross team chat turned off, but I would say my game went pretty well, and I'm giving you the whole update now because there's no, unfortunately, 0 to hero this week. My power supply died, so I'm not on my normal computer. So my normal computer is sitting there just a carcass right now until I can replace the power supply. So now I have to choose between my PAX badge and my power supply for funding, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But so my week went pretty well. So yeah, I'd call it a good week, a good 7 days.
Well, that's good. Rev, any interesting games this week? Any fun stuff happen?
I would not say fun. I am a main support player, and this week in ranked, I've been pretty much forced to play solo top and AP mid, and I have lost 112 elo. I was 22 points away from gold to get that luscious Janna skin, and now I'm below 1400 for the first time in 2 or 3 months.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's painful.
I've still yet to play a ranked game. It almost happened. I was queued for a ranked game with Haste this week, and I made him dodge. Mostly because I wanted to play with some other people who were online, but it was nuts. I got a job this week, which is fantastic. I'm no longer unemployed, and my place within the city of Boston actually has a podcast studio in-house. So I am going to see who I need to butter up to be able to get in there at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. So maybe the audio quality of my line, at least, will greatly increase over the next couple of weeks. We'll have to see. Unfortunately, my league life was not as successful. I don't know what I did to deserve the games that I ran into, but there were some terrible games, and it wasn't always me. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. But I was completely zen throughout it. I didn't rage. I wanted to, but I refused to because that's not what I stand for. And it was just a rough couple of games. But then Awinia and I, after the announcement of the new Twisted Tree line, decided to play a game last night, and we absolutely dominated. So that made me feel better. It almost made up for the full week.
I watched that.
Oh, did you?
I watched it on the Instalock mid previous broadcasts. I watched that.
It was a really great time. I managed to confuse somebody because I flashed over a wall at one point that completely baffled him in my ability to do so. He thought I flashed from the middle of the bottom lane in Twisted Tree line to the center with one flash, where what I actually did was flashed over into the jungle just at the tip of the bush and then walked out. So they had a ward in the middle, and it made it look like I had jumped all the way. I offered the guy, I was like, hey, add me afterwards. I have LOL replay running. I have a stream of this going. I'll go back and I'll look and I'll send you the file. And we'll see if we can figure out what just happened. He obviously didn't quite have all the information. So.
Because our Instalock players, we are not cheaters.
No, we're
Damn
just
right.
that good. You just think we're cheating
Yeah.
because we're so good.
So good, you think he's cheating.
And then just don't look at my record.
Yeah.
And just know that I'm really, really good.
4-50. Ah, crap.
Don't check that out. Speaking of checking that out, we're going to check out some league news this week. And that's pretty much, to be honest with you guys, that's all we have for you this week. We have a huge episode coming out next week, as we've explained before. Episode Sweet 16 will be live casted. We're going to have a ton of people. We're going to be taking your questions. Some questions have already been submitted to us. Some questions we'll be taking live during the show. We're going to have all these great people on. Rev will be there. Renzler will be there. Ace will be there.
And what channel is that going to be on?
That's going to be on as many channels as we can get it, to be honest. It will be on the Instalock Mid channel, which all of you know is just at Instalock Mid on Twitch. Well, we'll have some other streamers in there, and they potentially may be streaming it as well. We still have to figure out the logistics of that, but there will be quite a few people on to talk about Season 2, some big things happening in the community, and some new stuff in Season 3. So with that, let's just get right into the news. Some streamers, speaking of them, have actually had their accounts banned recently. I shouldn't say banned, they've been suspended. There was a major issue that Riot caught on where streamers were going on and actually playing on other people's accounts live on their stream to get them up to gold standards so that they can get the War Jaina skin. And there's probably some sort of compensation going on there. Rev, how do you feel about this kind of behavior within the community? And do you think Riot really took the appropriate actions to ban and discipline these boosting players?
Well, to me, it's a two-handed sword there, because to me, I don't see nothing wrong with the boosting itself, but the people that were banned and it was held against, it was the ones that did it on stream in front of people. It ruined games for the people that deserved the elo they were at, those 1,400, those 1,300s, and those 1,200 players. And I think that the suspension was not severe enough for what they did, because you can't say that you're trying to build a less toxic community but only slap somebody on the wrist where they can get on an alternate account and still play, when they ruined literally dozens, maybe even hundreds of games just helping somebody out or getting paid to do so. Because unfortunately, as we found out about a couple streamers, they were paid to do so. And I just think that they took a strong stance with the fine in the finals in the world playoffs. I don't see why they just slapped these streamers on the wrist like that.
Yeah. Speaking of the finals, we actually just had the finals wrap up, and Season 2 is coming towards a close here. We had TPA, Taipei Assassins, were the winners.
Assassins!
Thank God, because I did not want to see the cheating Azubu Frost team
Well,
win.
no, that's what I called it, okay? You almost had it. I called it Taipei Assassins versus the Cheating Bastards. and that's the only way I can call them now. I can't call them Azubu Frost anymore. It's what they've done, always has been, always will be, and they will never get rid of that. They cheated at a World Finals. I will never get over that.
To be honest, I mean, I guess not sympathies or condolences, but all the teams that we saw go into the championship were all amazing teams. They're all very good at what they do, and they're great players. But through whatever problems went down, there was a little bit of cheating. We discussed some of this last week. There was screen looking, and up until before the actual finals themselves, there was the ability to go ahead and do that. Nobody thought to build a booth, with a big wall that blocks everybody out. But there's a discussion to be had, I think, at some point, not necessarily now, but at some point, about whether or not having the players right there in front of people actually live and interacting, because there is, they have their noise canceling headphones, but if you see the crowd start to freak out, something's happening.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a whole lot of elements to go into it, but it is unfortunate that there was cheating. I was glad to see that the finals themselves went down without too much of a problem. Rev, did you get to catch the whole finals?
Oh yeah, I would not miss any of those games, and I look at it when back to what you said about the live audience and then them being within distance and seeing a reaction. Being an avid sports fan, one of the biggest ways to cheat is hand signals. And I don't know how much precaution Riot has taken from stopping hand signals coming from the audience to the players to let them know, gank, come and try bush. You know, that's something that actually bothers me, especially since they made a big deal about the looking at the screen. You can't just, you know, those booths that they were using for previous tournaments is probably the best deterrent to stop, you know, even hand signals, gestures. Like you just said, watching the crowd react can absolutely give away something happening.
Right. And I mean, if you look at the crowd at the World Finals, that wasn't a couple bleachers of people. That was a massive audience. I took some pictures and I showed my dad, who, you know, he doesn't know a lot about esports, and he certainly doesn't know much about online gaming in general, but he was blown away by the amount of people that were there and the enthusiasm of the crowd and how much they freaked out when, you know, Taipei Assassins won. And it was just, it's this intense thing. It's a legitimate sport now. It's not a physical sport, but it's legitimacy, it's following, it's emotion, it's all there. All the pieces are there.
And if they had a bigger venue, they probably would have filled it.
Oh yeah, of course. And season 3 is going to be completely nuts. I mean, the night of the championship, LOL Worlds and League of Legends were trending on Twitter, and TPA as well. I actually forgot to mention that. It was trending on Twitter. All three of those things very high up. And it takes I'm sorry?
Didn't TPA trend for like a day afterwards still?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. No, it was going on for at least a little bit of the next day. It was just nuts. I mean, I use Hootsuite as a management tool, and that allows you to have multiple rows of just different feeds pouring in. And I have my home feed, the search for the hashtag League of Legends. I had LOL Worlds, and then I had League of Legends just typed out, and I couldn't refresh the page fast enough. Stuff was just pouring in. It was intense. Crazy matches, crazy games. Unfortunately, if you guys haven't gotten the Season 2 Championship icon yet, I'm pretty sure that that's gone and you can't get that anymore. Don't quote me on that. Championship ribbon should still be available. That looks amazing. Just the whole tournament, it was a spectacle. And if you missed it, you should.
But what did they do for the World Finals, Mr. Motgnarom, that was separate from the rest of the games?
Oh, they went LAN, which is quite interesting. They actually had the finals on a LAN connection rather than hosting it on their own servers, which caused them a little bit of problems in previous matches. But in an interview, which a lot of things came out of this interview, and Renzler, I'll ask you to send a link out to this article where it has the full press interview. But Riot has gone on the record now saying that they will not have a LAN setting for the home client, which is a little disappointing. I think I'd like to have LAN games. I'd also like to have a lot of things with the client, so maybe I'll just take what's given to me and be happy with it. But we should be seeing the Mac client come out soon, so they are doing different things working with it.
Also, they had the LAN client. They didn't tell anybody. They had a small amount of people knew, and damn if they were going to get anywhere near social media. But the Wednesday games that they played at the Galen Center, that was also on LAN.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They scrambled, and apparently Riot ended up with a set of applicable servers there at the Galen Center on Tuesday, and were able to get it ready. So Wednesday's secured /location, which they revealed on Monday was going to be the Galen Center, was actually on LAN, as well as obviously the finals. So
Right.
So having high-profile tournaments, or even the major events throughout Season 3 being on LAN, I mean, yes, I'd love to have home LAN client. I'd love to be able to go to PAX or something like that and just LAN play games.
Well,
just get a bunch of people sitting down in the booth and do that, and maybe they will do that for that. But it'd be cool to have a local Las Vegas League players thing and go there and play LAN, but obviously we can't. But for the high profile stuff, yeah, the LAN client, I think it's really going to help. It may not be everywhere, but I think it's really going to help. Obviously, it allowed the finals to go off pretty much without a hitch, pretty well. They were able to just get through their games, do their thing, and Taipei came out on top.
Right. And it was They looked very good in the process. Speaking of looking very good, Twisted Fate got his visual upgrade, which we've known about for quite some time that it was coming, but didn't quite see it coming in the wake of all the Season 2 ending stuff. But we had a patch with some minor bug fixes. The Rengar double jump got nerfed. RIP. I miss it already. And so we got the Twisted Fate remakes. That was nice. A nice little thing to come out. I have to say that I was surprised. I expected not a lot of information in the weeks after the championship. I figured Riot would take some time to decompress and sort of let the hype build up for Season 3 and get stuff ready. But no, they just berated us with stuff, all sorts of fun stuff, such as the new champion to be released soon enough, Elise Spider. Crazy looking spider lady. She is the shapeshifter that we were promised quite some time ago. She is a spider and she can turn into, she's a human and she turns into a spider. She's got a number of really crazy different abilities. Her ultimate actually changes her into a spider, which totally swaps out all of her abilities and gives her basically, a huge boost in movement speed, magic damage on attack, and armor and magic resist, along with some different abilities. So definitely check out that. The information is now official on the community website, so you can go check that out. Rev, what are you thinking about Elise?
Oh man,
how are you building her?
I'm extremely happy about it, and from what I've heard from PBE, she's going to be an AP bruiser that's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to getting my PBE back downloaded so I can at least try her and check the other things out that's coming out.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, but I have always been against using the public beta for a game like this because I want, when it's a live game that's living and growing and it's always there and always out, I don't like to play betas because I'll just wait for it to come out official. There's enough game content for me to play around in now. But seeing Elise, seeing all of her crazy abilities, and more importantly, seeing the Twisted Tree Line, the 3vs3 map update, has made me want to switch over. Now, my level 1 through 20 was Twisted Tree Line. I played Tristana, I played in the bottom, and that's all I did. The games were quick, they were relatively easy, I understood the mechanics, didn't need 5s. Stayed that way for quite some time. There will always be a place in my heart for Twisted Tree Line. So the remake is going to add a number of different features. They'll be getting its own item sets, similar to how Dominion works, and some of these items are just absolutely ridiculous. And the goal of these new items is they're trying to increase the amount of champions and the amount of play styles that you can actually use in Twisted Tree Line. The meta right now for Twisted Tree Line mostly sits with bruisers and very tanky champions that will be able to survive and turtle in a lane. And to remedy that, they've added these. They've revamped the jungle to adjust how the jungle is thought of within the game. It's not some of the later ranked games, as Rev was explaining to me before the show. You actually, I guess a lot of teams run with junglers, which makes games snowball. Rev?
Yeah, the more, it's just the basic concept is the same with Summoner's Rep and a support on bottom lane. When you can snowball 2 people with CS instead of sharing a CS in a lane, and then the third person is still getting CS, still getting buffs, and still able to gank on a constant basis, it takes one team completely to a snowball effect. And I'm glad they're changing that because it's the only reason I still don't play 3s.
Right. I absolutely love Twisted Tree Line, and I think these updates are going to be fantastic. Visually, the whole map is changed. It has a brand new, fresh look. They edited some of the lanes to make them more accessible and less turtley. They thickened up some of those walls so you can't just flash over everything or Valkyrie over everything, as Awinia found out last night playing as Corki. They've actually added a new buff system, which is kind of cool. Basically, there are 2 altars within the map, and after 2 minutes, the altars are unlocked, and standing on them for a certain amount of time gives your group a team-wide buff. If you get one of the 2 shrines, you get +4 gold after each kill, so that's minions and champions. And if you have 2, you get some increase of damage and I think actually resistances. So it adds a bit of strategy, similar to I think what we'll see is how in Dominion you get a lot of fast champions that can move around the map quickly and kind of backdoor and be all over the map at once. You'll definitely see champions with stealth mechanics. Evelyn will be the worst, where they're disappearing from team fights only to sneak up and steal a shrine and get that extra boost. And it'll just be something to sort of break up the monotony. So I'm looking forward to Twisted Tree Line remake. Renzler, have you actually ever played 3v3?
No, actually, I have only played Summoner's Rift, played what the tutorial thing gave me, started jumping in with a bunch of friends at level 1, and really never looked back. But you know what that gives us? An excellent opportunity to play a threes.
Well, absolutely. You have to see Twisted Tree Line before it's changed forever.
Okay, well, I consider that a challenge, and we'll do that.
Challenge accepted. Now, the last thing about Twisted Tree Line that's coming out, which is actually very cool, is they're changing the world boss, so to speak. I just used the World of Warcraft term there. The world boss for this will actually be a gigantic spider, and she gives you a buff similar to Dragon. But the cool thing about this... Wow, Baron, sorry. Well, it's Dragon in threes. There's a dragon that gives you 1% extra damage per level if you kill it in threes.
Okay.
So, not Dragon, or sorry, not Baron. But so, there is a Easter egg with Elise, the new champion, that if you go and you dance in front of the spider boss will actually dance with you. It only works with Elise, but That's awesome. Pretty hilarious if you find the videos. Rev, what are you thinking about this big change to Twisted Tree Line? Do you think it's going to help the threes matches? Do you think we're going to see more of it, less of it?
I'm thinking that it's going to be a lot more popular now because of, it's not just the quality of life changes they're doing to it, they're giving it a whole new look. It's like Dominion. To me, Dominion is the most underrated aspect of League of Legends, and that's including Twisted Tree Line, because it's not just about, grabbing objectives and winning games. There's a lot of strategy behind it. And in my opinion, and I've said it about Dominion, about Summoner's Rift, any good player that can play Dominion can play Summoner's Rift because it takes more strategy. And it thinks about the same lines with TT now. Mm-hmm. Because bottom line, you actually have to form a strategy to win the games now, not just pick Trendemir and Xin Zhao and some other random AP character and roll face. And now you actually, do we take a speed champion to take these buffs at all times? Do we take, a highly mobile champion like Ari to make sure that if they get to the buffs, we can interrupt those buffs from being distributed to the other team? Right. I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the meta sort of changes and evolves. I hope it does not go the way of Dominion, where the majority of the community, I know there are some Dominion elite out there who are very loyal to Dominion and love it, but I think the majority of the community was overall underwhelmed with Dominion and how it played out. Mostly due to ignorance, I think. I think that Dominion is a very complicated game, and when you have two teams who understand how to play it and who choose the right champions and the right builds, it actually becomes a very difficult and fun game to play. You just have to be willing to get to that level, and I think more than enough people were satisfied with just Summoner's Rift alone. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out, and we'll definitely be following that information and some of the feedback as it comes through the beta client. Now, Halloween is upon us. We have a really cool thing actually released by Riot, something very unique. They haven't quite done this before. They released a whole piece on the Shadow Isles. The Shadow Isles is, of course, a location within the League of Legends universe, home to a number of champions, Elise, the new champion, included. And this is how they've kind of come out and announced what they're doing this year for Halloween. They have 4 new skins. There is Death Blossom Elise, Headless Hecarim, which is similar to the Headless Horseman, Haunted Maokai, which I'm upset about because I hate Maokai jungler going against me, and giving him a new skin will only encourage that, and Underworld Twisted Fate. So you can actually see the skins in an artistic form, not the actual game models, but in an artistic form on their website.
And then something very cool and new that they added that we had actually talked about on the show previously when the new commerce director came on and did his piece on the forums. We have now the ability to buy ward skins and new summoner icons. And the very interesting thing about this is that it's not only available for RP, but there are actually some that are available for IP. And these will change the visual effect of your wards or give you a new summoner icon. And there are different ones you can buy. Some are IP, some are RP, some cost more than others. But they look amazing. What do you guys think about this as a way for Riot to generate new money? Are you for this kind of customization, or do you think they're going to get out of hand?
I think it's amazing. My name's Rev the Ward Bot because I use a lot of wards, so I'm going to be using them all the time. But the one you didn't hit on while you were doing that was the zombie brand skin. I've seen pictures of it, and that's the one I'm most excited for. You know, the Headless Horseman Hecarim is going to be amazing, but the zombie brand skin looks astonishing.
That is actually not listed on the site. That may be a little bonus thing.
Right, now soon. I have to fight more freaking brands as freaking Darius. Great. So as soon as I'm ready to smash him, he freaking headbutts me. Yeah. Is that Alistar or no? That's
Alistar.
No, that's Alistar.
Well, Brand still sucks. I hate playing against him.
Yeah, Renzler, you need to start playing draft mode because I'm going through the same feeling that you have right now with Blitzcrank. I hate Blitzcrank. I hate everything about Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank
is enough to demoralize me into a game to where I actually get not like mad upset, but just like depressed with the game. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to play this anymore. And Jackson's been feeling that with our work in killing bot. But
yeah, well, you guys will be fine. I think that the two of you will get up there. I can't play draft mode. I'm not 30 yet, Chief. I'm working on it.
I forgot about that.
I'm still like level 22. I'm King Noob over here. That's why we call it 0 to hero.
True.
I'm still at the 0 stage.
Sorry, Rev. We kind of ran over you there.
No, it's I love it. I love it. Hearing people passionate about our game makes me very, very happy.
And that's what we're all about.
Yes.
It warms my heart.
What I want to see with these ward skins and icons, I know this is too much. People won't agree with me here. Some may, some may not. I want to see wards flavored for each champion.
That'd be crazy, but that'd also
be
awesome.
Amazing.
That'd be awesome. I have to agree. That'd be
like
awesome.
A little Teemo ward that's actually just a big mushroom, or like a different kind of mushroom that he gets to place around. Or
how about a Teemo doll that he just sets down? Little mini Teemos.
Yes. Or, at least having little spiders or cobwebs pop up. I think that would add a lot of really unique stuff to champions. I think it gives you sort of a flavor of what's going on. And I'm all for Riot for a free-to-play game charging money for non-game affecting content. And by that I mean having boosts that makes you do more damage or survive better.
Right.
Don't charge me for that stuff. Don't allow people to pay for it because people will, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, it's like giving out a set of tier 4 runes but only for RP.
Right, that would enrage me to no point. But if it's just a cosmetic thing, if it's a visual thing, do it. I want to see it. Be creative. Give me more.
Twisted Fate can have a little stack of cards, like a little house of cards, and Blitzcrank can have little mini Blitzcranks.
Right.
It'd be, yeah. I'm just thinking of that now, going, wow, I can think of a lot of them that'd be really cool.
And the best thing to me is that when I buy these things, when they come out for this Halloween, 3 Halloweens from now, when they're completely different, I'm going to throw down an original ward skin.
Yeah.
People are like, wow, that guy's been playing for a while.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome because this game has longevity to it. Because like you said before, it's kind of like a living game. It's a living entity. It's something that they can keep changing and balancing and fixing and adding to and doing the reworks. Taking a champion that says, oh yeah, this guy's been around for a couple years, kind of boring, right? Well, how about this? And then they just redo everything. New skills, right. New everything. And oh look, it's a brand new champion. It's still the Twisted Fate or the Brand or the Alistar or whatever that we love, but he's a bit different and he's better. And they can basically continuously do that. And can you think in 12 months how many new champs we're going to have? Or how many total champs we'll have? What are we at, like 106 right now? 105, something like that. A lot.
Your point is
Very
valid
close.
because Evelyn is living proof of what you just said. Evelyn was an original character. She got this remake lately. Before the remake, she was useless and she was a troll pick that people used to either get people to dodge for them or just to be, show douchebaggery.
Mhm.
And now she is a strong champion that is actually in need of nerfs.
To quote
And to me-
M5, we only pick broken heroes.
Yeah. And she is broken as AP, and I agree with that 100%. So you just hit the nail right on the head with that statement. Changing it too much is a bad thing.
Meddling with it, yes.
Meddling with it too much is going to, cause the fans of those champions. It's like everybody's crying for a Heimerdinger remake. They want a complete remake, but to the people like me, Heimerdinger has always been and always will be my favorite champion in League of Legends, no matter what they release. I've been waiting for the Spider Queen since I started, and I started playing about 3 weeks before the Xin Zhao release.
Oh wow!
But if they change Heimerdinger, it would upset me because he's such a fun champion. They need to buff him. They need to change certain aspects of the turret system. But to completely remake him like they did Evelyn, I would be demoralized because he's a fun, easy champion to play and pick up.
Yeah.
And what you just said is exactly how I've always felt about this. You can change certain aspects to make the character more viable, but to change it just to please a small part of the masses would make no sense.
And it would waste all their time. I mean, they only have so many people that work so many hours and so many hours in a day, etc. So they can only do so much. They have to take everybody's, their opinions and things into consideration. But at the end of the day, they have to go into a meeting room and just make a decision. And I bet that's happening all the time with people wanting new stuff and extra stuff and, rework this guy because he's blah, blah, blah. Or that whole group of people that want Heimerdinger reworked. It's probably come up in internal meetings like a dozen times. And they're like, no, dude, we can't do it. It's not practical. But the obvious broken champions, you got to fix them, balance, stuff like that.
Right. I think as long as Riot stays true to what their internal values are and never really change that, they're not going to lose their audience. At least their core audience. And if you want more proof of that, go on your shelf, go find those CDs of Warcraft 3, install that, and then do a search in the multiplayer for Dota. Dota. And you will see that good, well-built MOBAs that gain a cult following will be around for quite some time. Because that was, in my mind, one of the original MOBAs in the form that we come to understand them now.
My stepson is on right now playing Warcraft 3.
Yep.
As we speak, he's doing it. That's where I came from. Was Dota. So there's the proof in the pudding. You don't even have to go look it up. Just think about it. The people that make League of Legends helped make certain aspects of Dota.
Right.
I'd like to add just really quickly, when a set of developers or a company meddles with a game, if you want to know what meddling is for a game, look at Diablo 3.
No, World of Warcraft.
All I have to say, well, World of Warcraft, yes, because of all the expansions, but honestly, taking a game that had a lot of promise that was really good at launch, just needed a few bug fixes, honestly, Diablo 3 has been meddled into the ground. I mean, the new patch came out the last few days. I don't even care. I haven't played it in like 3 months. And I was huge. We had the marathoners. We had a whole group. We did all this stuff. We did a 3-day stream on launch day. And the game was awesome for about the first 5 weeks. And then they really started just screwing with everything. And it's in the ground now. So as long as, like you said, Motgnarom, if Riot keeps on their current path and keeps their focus the way it is, that won't happen to League.
Yeah, and I think Blizzard lost its way quite some time ago. I used to be a hardcore World of Warcraft player. And just going back to it now and playing it and playing my level 1 character with all the BOAs and hitting straight to like 85 and however short amount of time that would take. It's just sad to watch a giant die. And hopefully that won't happen in the League.
I started World of Warcraft in alpha. I was one of the original testers, and that sentiment is the truest thing I've ever heard. The game used to be extremely fun. Now, I can't lie, Mr. Pender is a little bit better than the last 2 expansions, but it's still that same thing, what you just said. You can level a character from 1 to 90 in less than a week, and that takes all fun away from the game.
Right.
Because you're not having to work for nothing anymore. You're basically getting it handed to you.
I was a Rift player, and it took me 5 weeks, damn it.
I was a Rift player, and I quit before I hit endgame because the grind was so atrocious. But that's what Blizzard is trying to shy away from, and that's what League of Legends and Riot does extremely well. The grind for League of Legends is not half as bad as Rift, but it's not as easy as World of Warcraft. It's right there in the middle.
It's not bad at all because it's very rare that you will have the same team build and that they will have the same team build. Running into the same, at least in normal play, and probably, to be honest, low elo play and even high elo play, it just doesn't happen. You're never going to get the same team building against each other, and you're never going to get the same people. It's always different. Every time you go at it, there's always something different to get a hold of. There are so many different ways that you can build characters that
and they actually work.
Sometimes work.
And it's not the fact that you can build them that way. It's that they're actually viable when you do
it. One of the people who trolled me in a game played a AD Ari, and we lost, and she didn't do terrible. And I think that we had a very bad fiddlesticks, and that's why we lost the game. We had like a 1 in 20 fiddlesticks. And the AD Ari held itself. A character that is meant to be a ranged mage with a ton of mobility was doing attack damage. And that worked.
Wow.
So you can definitely mess around with this game all you want and just come up with some crazy stuff. And it's just fantastic. And it's going to be around for quite some time. I think it is safe to say. Unfortunately, that is not the way of tonight's podcast. We are at an end of our content for this week. At least the only stuff I want to talk about.
And we don't keep blasting filler. We just get to our points.
Right. I don't like Syndra, so we're not even going to talk about her. She is getting a little bit, she's getting some quality of life changes that are going to hopefully make her better. I've yet to see a scary Syndra. Never played Syndra, but she...
Ditto. Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be that great.
I found Syndra, found her in a bush, and then I dunked her. She was dead.
Yep.
End of story.
So maybe we'll have more to talk about that when there's more things that are concrete. But this will wrap up this fine episode of Instalock.
But what are we doing next week, Motgnarom?
Next week is going to be incredibly exciting and live and fun, and your questions and your people, streamers and community members and a bunch of people on the show.
So give them the pitch.
It'll be all over the internet. It will be fantastic. Now, as everyone here knows, Instalock Mid is a Severity Gaming podcast. We were born in Severity Gaming, raised in Severity Gaming. They've always been there for us and done a lot with us. I'm a staff member of Severity Gaming.
Hey, me too.
And that's who we are. And we are very proud to announce our newly found partnership with Rise Up Gaming, which is headed up by our very good friend, Rev the Ward Bot. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about exactly what they have going on, but just know that this is going to be an amazing community-based coalition of streamers, a huge project really dedicated to the good of the League of Legends community. We don't want the ragers. We don't want the people who are negatively affecting our community. We only want the stellar people and the people who are there to help. And Rev has done an amazing amount of work in bringing a group of people together to really get this done and have his dreams sort of be realized through this project. So we'll have a big piece on it next week. We'll have a bunch of the members of that. Myself and the rest of the podcast are a part of this now. And we're just, we're going to roll with it, and we'll have more on it next week. So with all of that, I guess we will sign off for the night. A short episode indeed, but next week we'll surely make up with that in epicness. So, as always, I am Motgnarom signing off with SG Renzler.
Peace.
And joined this week by Rev the Ward Bot.
Don't forget the ward.
And I will see you guys next week live, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
On what channel?
On the Instalock Mid Twitch channel, and potentially some of the other streaming channels of all of your favorite streamers.
So watch Twitter, check out Facebook, especially Twitter, though. You will be getting updates throughout the week.
Absolutely. Have a good night, guys.